Are you saying he's not vigorously an advocate for you?
I'm saying, yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
You're wrong. You're absolutely wrong.
Well,
I know him and we've tried 600 jury trials here, 600. I know who's vigorous and who's not.
Court Uncut, what the people want.
Hey, Judge,
He's been in custody around 18 months.
I would prefer that Chopin stay with you. You've seen the video on this gas station beat down before. And that is
I don't
not
remember,
one-
but.
Well, you're
I
right.
can
You've
keep
only
it.
really seen one video that takes place like this. It's that 3 a.m. party at the gas station. He's one of the 10 defendants in that.
The thing about that, Your Honor, is that I appreciate the state's position, but he has a $200,000 bond. He's been in custody 18 months. If the state's inclined to want to keep it here, I would want a bond reduction because I want to get it.
When's our next trial docket?
I just wanted you to know the facts.
Well, when's
If
our
you
next
still
trial
send it
docket?
over to drug court, I'm fine with that.
Hold on, Judge.
He can't try it today, right?
I can try. I mean, I'm sure Mr. Ham probably can. I'm ready.
They're not.
But there's no jury.
They can't.
They don't have a jury
They
this
don't
week.
agree. Our next trial docket is April 21st.
It's a relatively simple case. I don't think it would, Mr. Ham will speak out of turn. It
We're
probably wouldn't.
we're
take-
gonna set it special on that day. We'll set it special on April 21st,
And I don't think.
There's a lot on there, Judge.
sir.
It's an easy case for me to try,
Right.
if you want to add it to that docket, but
That's what I'm gonna
I don't
do.
know that it ought to receive a special setting on the docket. But the state's ready to try it today, ready to
How
try
long
it
do you
then,
think it would
ready to
take to-
try whatever setting you
How
get.
long? How long do you think how many witnesses do you have?
It's approximately 8 witnesses on that, Judge. Approximately.
Let's go, we're
by
gonna put it on
memory.
that day.
The 21st and keep it here.
Okay, Mr. Cover, that's you. And you were charged with 2 state jail felonies. As you know, it's publishing intimate visual matter and theft of property. And Mr. Kindler here has been representing you. How long has this man been in jail?
57 days. He has a parole hold, Judge.
He has and he also has a parole hold, yeah. What is the defendant's criminal history?
It's very extensive, Your Honor. So it's,
What is that?
if he's revoked on parole, I believe he was sentenced to around, I don't know, 78 years or something like that. It was a very large number. So if he's revoked on his parole,
For what? What was the sentence?
there was,
I don't have,
there's a whole.
there's no prior convictions at all in these indictments, in these 2 indictments. He's just charged with state jail felonies. That's all it shows. Which is, 2 years. There's no enhancement there.
And there hasn't been a notice of enhancement filed.
What?
I know he's got escape, I believe. He's got aggravated robbery.
Okay. Well, is there any restitution on these 2 cases? It was theft, I would think would be the only one that would be possible, 2232. And how much time did you say you had?
He's been in jail 557 days.
There is restitution, Your Honor. I think it was around $8,000 is what the victim was
Do
claiming.
you have any way of ever paying that back if you were ordered to? Yeah, I mean, you're in custody. You don't have 8,000 handy, do you?
No, you don't. I've worked. This here is really, I can.
If you were released from these 2 cases, are you going to have to go serve?
No, sir, my parole's been continued already. I went through the preliminary hearing, and these are the charges that are holding my parole up.
In your honor, there, I spoke to
What?
the parole officer and they're actually waiting for the disposition of these. So if he is
Yeah.
on these with the kiosk text that I have about him bragging about certain things and saying, you know, I think his parole will most likely, it'll be revoked and he'll be sentenced back to finish out that sentence, which was how many years?
100, I got 115
There
years.
you
I
go.
come off parole in April 2101. I got locked up in 1985. I haven't had a charge since 1995.
See,
And this is
that's a
coming
long
from
shot,
my
I think, for them
ex-fiance.
for this. For either of these two cases, I don't see them revoked, but I'm not the person who makes the
I
choice.
just seen parole day before Friday. Again.
I think the purpose of Mr. Trevor wanting to come over was to advise the court that he's seeking pro se representation.
Correct.
Yeah, okay,
It's,
man,
this
that's,
is
that's
my
always,
ex-fiance.
hold on. And you're certainly entitled to do that. I've only been doing this for 40 some odd years and it just, self-representation, especially when you have prior convictions. There's that always has in the past worked out catastrophic for a defendant. Yeah, but hey, it's free will. Humans are grown-ups and you can do what you think you need to do. But what's odd is these two cases generally are not the kind that are tried. These things get resolved. I don't understand why are we trying this? I know because he wants a trial, I guess, but is it just
I think the parole issue, your honor.
okay? So what about it that prevents this from being resolved in ways that I mean, he says, have you worked all your life when you've been in the free world?
Yes.
Well, he's not going to pay it back in prison. But if he's put on something, and if he is released on parole, then there would be a chance that these people could get something on restitution.
I think that's the issue. I think we would have agreed to potentially probation on one of them. I think the issue is he believes he'll be revoked on parole. I have sent the kiosk message to the parole officer in which he describes them as weak mother effers. They gave me parole. My first thought was these weak mother effers gave me parole. He's basically saying I never should have been paroled for all these different things I've done. And
well, but
I think he believes he's going to be revoked.
Always have
His parole is going to be revoked.
The inmates always have a different opinion, but others make the decisions, but they're entitled to be heard and make a statement on their behalf. But how much weight that carries, parole people and like the court or juries, at the end of the day, everybody who goes to trial is pleading not guilty. But we have most of the cases are found guilty in spite of that. But that doesn't stop people. They have a right to plead. What I'm saying is this is unusual that he's sitting in there for 2 state jail felonies when it seems like when there's other authorities that are trying to resolve their matters with him. Why are we, why isn't there something that's reached? Because truly, if you want to set it for trial, I'm sorry, it's going to be a long way before we get around to it. But isn't there some way it can get resolved?
We've tried, your honor. The state's tried, and I don't believe the defense wants to. My understanding, he didn't want to accept our offer.
Okay, well, which was what?
They got offered probation initially.
Defer?
I can't remember. I'll have to look and see. I don't know.
Did you offer him defer?
I think it was
Not found guilty.
It was.
It was. It was not. No.
It was 2/5.
Something burned?
No, this plug isn't working, Judge.
It was a regular probate.
Yes,
But you're not sold on that though, huh? The word is also an option too, right?
They could drop it to a there's a lot of things that are an option, that's whether they're gonna do it. They could drop it to misdemeanors if they wanted to. Which would. In the normal case would keep you from having his parole revoked, but I don't know based upon what the state.
What do you add, what do you want to do? You've written all these letters because I seldom get all of these letters. You're spending a lot of time doing this. What is it you want?
All right. And I'm not guilty. There is no crime. There is none. This is my ex-fiance, and we split one way and the other, that she filed these charges because the parole officer asked her to. Now, he brought up parole. I said that. I said, when I first made parole, I thought the system was weak, but he didn't read the rest. I thought that I got an opportunity and a chance. When I made parole, I've been locked up for 38 years. I've never had a driver's license, never had a bank account. I've never done nothing. But since I've been out, I've walked down a year on a monitor. I made every visit to the parole office, every home visit, passed every UA. My parole officer and my advocate, the one that pressed these charges, got crosswise. And then when I went to my preliminary hearing, they falsified state documents. I pointed it out. That's why my parole was continued. That's why the parole, Don Allen and Tom Garrett. That's why, he keeps bringing it up. Exactly. That's why.
Hold on. All of that parole stuff. I don't know much about that because I'm not involved in that part of it. What I am involved in is you have 2 indictments that were filed in December a year ago, a little over a year ago. And the grand jury indicted you on these 2 cases. That's all I'm worried about. All that other stuff,
Okay.
that's you can argue with in the mirror all day long, but there's nothing, I don't have control over parole.
If I might interject here, the state
I just
has,
want to move these 2
the
cases.
state has introduced the fact of parole in this case. I will say that based on my discussions with Mr. Clover, there appears to be a personal relationship between his parole officer and the alleged victim. And I do have the parole officer subpoenaed as a fact witness in the case. So there is some connection between the alleged victim and parole system here. That Mr. Clover is not just off
You mean
base.
in the theft case or both? In both? Okay, I see. The same person is the victim in each case.
Correct.
Okay.
And then there's a relationship
Okay.
between the alleged victim and the parole officer. Yeah, I do have the parole officer under subpoena. I think
Okay.
Mr. Covers advised me that he does want to proceed pro se, so. In the event that it goes to trial and Mr. Cover wants the presence of the parole officer in court, then there's gonna have to be a way for the. parole
Okay.
officer to be notified.
The next step. I see you want to proceed pro se, is that right? Do you know what that means?
Yes, sir, I do. I've been in jail 18 months.
What does that have to do with
First time in here.
We're electing to go pro se. I mean, he's a,
Because I know I'm gonna fight for I'm not guilty of this, and I know I'm gonna fight to prove I'm not guilty.
Have you represented yourself before in official proceedings?
Yes, I have.
But tell the court when you represented yourself.
I represented myself when I got 40 years for escape.
How'd that work out?
I mean, it didn't work out too good, but at least I know I'm going to try. There's no
I don't
charges
understand.
here.
I don't understand. Were you retained or appointed on this?
Retained.
You retained?
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah. Are you saying he's not vigorously an advocate for you?
I'm saying, yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
You're wrong. You're absolutely wrong.
Well,
I know him and we've tried 600 jury trials here, 600. I know who's vigorous and who's not.
I wouldn't.
All right. You want to represent yourself, you You've been experienced in that? Good. We'll let you represent yourself and you can do it.
He was also
It has
advised,
never,
And
in
he doesn't-
600 trials and 45 years in this business, that's never been successful, but you might be the first one.
he's also advised that you don't want standby counsel as well.
No.
So you want to just.
I'm not guilty. I'm not guilty of this. So the state.
You're right now,
can't prove I'm
you're presumed innocent. I wrote the lead article on that. Are you presumed innocent? Don't dictate to me, okay?
guilty. I'm
You're presumed
entering my
innocent.
plea
And what is it? You're presumed innocent. What's next?
Until proven. guilty.
You're wrong, unless
Unless
proven guilty.
proven guilty.
Unless, not until, unless. There's some things you don't know.
Yes, sir, a lot.
But he's advised too that he doesn't want standby counsel. So I
Okay,
was prepared to act as standby.
that's
counsel,
not a
but he
problem.
didn't
We'll
want
deal
that
with,
as well.
we can deal with Mr. Cover and we can get this probably as best, I don't see. Sending this one over to drug court though. I think maybe I need to handle that. That's correct. But it'll be set as soon as possible. Okay,
Thank you.
Mr.
And I
Cover?
think I have filed motions for speedy trial as well.
Yeah,
I
okay.
started the right to speedy trial.
Okay. How many witnesses do you presume? So I can kind of figure out how much time we want to.
Yeah, I'd probably take about 7 witnesses. I don't think it'll take very long, though, maybe a day and a half, 2 days, I think.
What about you?
There's gonna need to be some mechanism for him to get the parole officer in the court.
I can put that in there and have the parole
And I
officer.
had 3 witnesses.
Now, I know there was 2 parole
You're gonna
officers.
have to figure that out. You're gonna represent yourself. If they're not here, if they're not done correctly, we move forward. That's the way it is. You have to know the procedures. You're insisting on representing yourself. If you don't do it right, you don't get what you want. And that's. But it's like every lawyer who comes in here, they're held accountable to doing the right thing procedurally. So,
What I'm
you just
saying
need to be,
is I
ready
said
to do it
until
correctly.
it happened. I didn't know nothing. I didn't.
I,
hear nothing,
look,
nothing. All right,
sir,
thank you.
you know, we're gonna,
Thank you.
we're gonna get your day and you insist on it and that's you're entitled to that. And it's just everybody in here says they're not guilty, but
Mhm.
95% of them end up being found guilty. I'm just, so don't talk about it, just do it.
Okay.
And we're gonna let you have an opportunity, but you're gonna have to be accountable to the procedures, knowing the procedures, you know, and how to do it right. I mean, I helped write the rules of evidence, so you gotta know how to do it right. That's why lawyers, I always say, you know, I know you wanna represent yourself. But lawyers come in handy.
I haven't had that.
All right,
Thank you.
you've thought about it long and hard and you wanna represent yourself, though. That's your final answer after talking about it.
What I want.
No, that's yes or no.
Okay, yes.
Okay, you got it.
Thank
Yes,
you.
sir. All right. All right, Mr. Cover, we're gonna get to you. Truly, it'll be quicker than you think, okay? We're going to try to get you here. Yes.
Make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss crazy courtroom moments like this one.